I feel like Travis and Jamilyn Juetten were attacked by someone who they knew or someone that they were associated with. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky. And today we're going to talk about the Travis and Jamilyn Juetten crimes. Now today is August the 13th, and it marks exactly 3 years since a man broke into the Juetten house and brutally attacked that couple in the middle of the night. Now Travis lost his life that night, and Jamilyn, she was stabbed 19 times and also suffered broken bones. It's been a long road for Jamilyn, both physically and emotionally. Investigators still don't have any leads, and they don't have any suspects. Now, in my last video, I talked about the Juetten crimes and how they related to the Idaho 4 crimes that happened in Moscow, Idaho, just 15 months apart. Now, these two crime scenes are very close together, approximately 400 miles, and both of these crimes were carried out in almost the exact same way. They're almost identical. So today, I want to talk about the Juetten house because, in my opinion, the location of the Juetten house could tell us a lot about who could have possibly committed these crimes. Travis and Jamilyn lived in a small house that was on a large farming property that they had taken over from Travis's grandparents. Now, this house had no neighbors or businesses anywhere around it, which also means that there were probably no security cameras or traffic cams in this area. Now, the house was on a large property, sitting out there all by itself, but it was very close to the main road. So anyone driving past this house would be able to see it. In my opinion, the location of Travis and Jamilyn's home is key because, as I said, it was out in the middle of nowhere in Marion County, Oregon. There was nobody around this house. So there could be some advantages to someone committing this type of crime in this house, and there would also be some disadvantages. And we're going to talk about all that. Now, in my opinion, someone drove to this house with intentions of committing a crime. And I say drove because I don't believe that someone would have walked that long of a distance from one of the neighboring towns. In my opinion, that would cause problems when they were trying to escape. Now, it is possible that maybe they got a ride. We know that not all witnesses come forward in the interest of self-preservation. So maybe somebody did drop this individual off. But I believe that they drove directly to the house. As I said, there would be no security cameras on neighbors' houses. There would be no traffic cams in this area because it wasn't a high traffic area. So I just don't see somebody walking that far to get to this house in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. Now, it seems to me like if somebody did walk from one of the neighboring cities, they would be pretty exhausted by the time they got to the house. And as we know, this was a very physical crime. So I don't believe that someone walked this distance and then was ready to carry out this homicide with a knife. It just appears to me that someone drove directly to this specific house to commit a crime against Travis and Jamilyn. Now, reports say that this attacker was wearing a full mask. And maybe he was wearing a mask in case there were any type of security cameras, and he was trying to hide his identity. But I also feel like it's very possible that he knew Travis and Jamilyn, and he wore the mask to conceal his identity in case they may survive. In my opinion, the intruder knew that Travis and Jamilyn were home and that they were sleeping, and that's why he went at that time of night. Now, it's very possible that he didn't know anything about the guest who was staying over with the Juettens, and maybe that's how he got caught by surprise. But in my opinion, this was somebody who was familiar with Travis and Jamilyn. Now, I'm not saying that it was a good friend or somebody that, was a regular around the house, although it could be. But it could also be just maybe a regular customer that, frequented Travis's work at the dispensary, or someone that Travis and Jamilyn had met or just randomly associated with. Now, as I said, the Juetten House was on farmland. And I can tell you, I know some farmers and I know some ranchers, and I can tell you two things. Usually on a farm or on a ranch, these people own firearms and they know how to use them. They use them to protect their animals. So I feel like if the attacker was from this area, they might take that into consideration. They might know that there's a good chance that there's a firearm inside this house. But if they knew Travis and Jamilyn and they knew that they were a peaceful couple, that might have given them the confidence to go ahead and enter the house that night. I think that the attacker entered the house in the early morning hours because he knew that everyone in the house would be sleeping and he was going to take them by surprise. Now, the vehicles that were parked in front of the Juetten house, in my opinion, would have been Travis and Jamilyn's. Now, we know they had a house guest, but for some reason, I just don't believe that that house guest's vehicle was parked out front. Because why did this individual stay the night? I mean, he was going to cat sit for Travis and Jamilyn. But why not just drive over to their house in the morning on the day that they were going to be leaving for Hawaii? It would make a lot of sense to me that it's possible that Travis and Jamilyn maybe picked up this house guest and brought them to the house. And maybe that's why only Travis and Jamilyn's cars were parked out front. In my opinion, the number of vehicles that are parked in front of this house when this intruder gets there is an important detail. Because I feel as though if one single individual armed with only a knife is going to go into the Juettens' house in the middle of the night to commit a crime, they might think twice if they notice that there's multiple vehicles out front. It's also possible that they know what Travis and Jamilyn drive, and they're familiar with these vehicles. So I feel as though if they would have seen a strange vehicle out front, that may have made them think twice. Maybe not, but it's possible. There's also some conflicting reports as to how Travis confronted this intruder. There's some reports that say that Travis and Jamilyn were sound asleep when they were attacked, that the assailant attacked them while they were sound asleep in their beds, and that's when they woke up. But the police reports state that Travis confronted this intruder in the house. So, how would he have confronted this intruder if he was sleeping? If he was laying in bed asleep, how does he confront this assailant? Now, this would make a big difference because it would kind of clarify, because in some reports it states that this assailant entered the house and went straight to Travis and Jamilyn's bedroom and attacked them. But other reports say that Travis discovered, this assailant in the house, and that's when he confronted him and he was attacked. So that's two totally different things, because if somebody went into this house and made a beeline for their bedroom and began attacking them, then we know that whoever committed these crimes was there for one reason, and that was to take the lives of Travis and Jamilyn. But if Travis discovered this intruder in the house outside of the bedroom, then that could also mean that this individual was there to steal, and he was caught by surprise. He was discovered. So that would, give us a little bit of a motive. If this individual was just in the house and Travis heard somebody in the house and got up to see what the noise was, and that's when he confronted this individual, then that would tell us that this person was likely inside the Juetten house to steal, not necessarily for the sole purpose of taking this couple's lives. A lot of the information that law enforcement has about these crimes came from Jamilyn, because she made it through. She pulled through and she survived. So she would be able to give law enforcement some information. But she wouldn't really know if Travis had gotten up to, go see what maybe a noise was in the house, or gotten up to confront an intruder, because she was asleep. So she wouldn't really know anything, until the point that she woke up. And it's already stated that at that point, Travis was already being attacked. So Jamilyn wouldn't really be able to confirm that, because like I said, she was asleep. Investigators stated that Travis and Jamilyn were found inside the house, but they don't specify where. They don't specify that Travis and Jamilyn were found in their bed. So it's very possible that someone did break into this house to steal and was discovered by Travis, and that's when Travis was attacked. So, did this attacker know that the Juettens didn't have big dogs or a security system or other forms of protection? It makes me believe that whoever committed these crimes knew the Juettens. He knew their setup. He knew that they didn't have big dogs. He knew that they didn't have firearms. So that's one of the reasons why I believe that Travis and Jamilyn were attacked by someone who they knew. I think it would be really difficult to case this house because of where it was located. It's sitting right out in the middle of nowhere. So it would be obvious if somebody was watching this house. Now, there's always the possibility that it could be someone who drove past this house every day, maybe back and forth to work, or commuting between the two towns. And maybe they were able to keep an eye on this house. But I just don't feel like this was some reckless, crazy person who just stumbled upon this house in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, with a knife, and just decided to take the lives of the occupants inside. In my opinion, this is either someone who broke into the house to steal, or this is someone who had an axe to grind and was angry enough that they wanted to cause them great harm. Anytime it's a couple, anytime there's a couple involved, there's a lot of different things that could happen. This could have been somebody Jamilyn knew. This could have been somebody Travis knew. You know, maybe the other one didn't know about this person. So when it's a couple, there's a lot of things that could have taken place. But in my opinion, this was carried out by somebody who knew this couple and possibly somebody who was familiar with this house. There were a lot of really good comments on my last video about the Juetten crimes, and a lot of you shared information and opinions about this case, and I really appreciate that because we're going to dig into this case. We're going to find some answers. The Juetten family are desperately seeking any information that might lead to a suspect, you know, in the murder of their son, Travis. And they deserve that. So, with your help, hopefully we can find some information. Hopefully we can find some answers. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you liked my video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Like I said, I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.